Philadelphia News, team of my heart.
You know that feeling when you give your all for this team? When you scream your lungs out for the Sixers, and in return, you just want honesty, effort, and respect? But instead, you're left scratching your head, wondering if the guy wearing the jersey even understands what this city demands from its players. That hurts, doesn't it? Because you, as a Sixers fan, you don't settle for less. You want passion, you want grit, you want truth. And right now, what you're getting feels like the exact opposite. Imagine this. The front office is grinding through another exhausting free agency standoff, trying to patch together enough financial space to finally give this roster some clarity. You've been waiting for answers, craving direction, and you're still stuck in limbo. That's the pain. That's the frustration. And you know it. Every second that ticks away without a solution just pushes the dream of competing for a title further out of reach. But here's the thing. There is a way out. The Sixers do have a path, and it starts with tough decisions. It starts with the willingness to shed contracts, to move players who may not be pulling their weight anymore. You've seen the numbers, you've looked at the books, and it's obvious who could be sent packing if this team really wants to clear the deck for something bigger. And that's where it gets personal, because it's not just about money. It's about loyalty. It's about trust. It's about whether you, the fan, can believe that the guy out there in Sixers colors actually respects the bond between player and city. When that bond gets tested, when words don't match effort, you feel it deep. You feel betrayed. You feel like your passion is being played with. Now here's where it stings the most. One of the players caught in this storm isn't just fighting to stay on the roster, he's fighting against you, the very people who gave him a second chance. Instead of embracing the love Philly poured out, he flipped it. He turned it back on the fans, almost like he's trying to gaslight you into thinking you're the problem. And that, my friend, cuts deeper than any missed shot or turnover ever could. The truth? You've seen his flashes of brilliance. You've seen the hustle, the energy, even the defensive spark that made you think, okay, maybe he's found his groove here. But then, time and again, the same old weaknesses show up. The shaky shooting, the tunnel vision, the inconsistency that make you wonder if keeping him really is worth it. That's not hate, that's reality. And you know it. You've been patient. You've been fair. You've even defended him at times, because that's what Philly fans do. We ride with our guys when they fight for us. But when the fight isn't there, when it feels like excuses replace accountability, your patience runs out. That's not on you. That's not on the fans. That's on him. And the bigger picture here, the Sixers can't afford to let one player's emotions derail the bigger goal. You want this team competing in May and June, not stuck explaining why the roster still feels incomplete. Every decision matters. Every move counts. And this situation has become a red flag the organization can't ignore. So here you are, watching it unfold, waiting to see if the front office has the guts to do what's necessary. The problem isn't that the fans don't love their players. The problem is when a player stops giving the fans a reason to believe. You're not asking for perfection. You're asking for effort, for honesty, for respect. And if the Sixers decide to ship him out, it won't be because the fans turn their backs. It'll be because the truth finally caught up. But here's the question you've got to ask yourself right now. At what point does defending someone cross the line into enabling them? That's the tension. That's the crossroads the Sixers are standing at. And you know what? The answer might come sooner than you think.
So let me ask you this. How many times have you watched a Sixers game and thought to yourself, why is this guy still on the floor? You've seen possession stall because of one decision. You've seen the momentum slip because of one bad shot. And yet, somehow, he always finds a way to justify it. Like you didn't just see what you saw. That, right there, is the definition of frustration for a fan like you. And don't you find it wild when a player starts talking like you're the problem? Like the fans, the heartbeat of this franchise, somehow don't show enough love? Think about that. You've spent your money on tickets, your nights glued to the TV, your voice screaming at Wells Fargo Center, and suddenly, it's you who doesn't give enough? That doesn't just sting, it feels like a slap in the face. But here's where it gets tricky. You and I both know this city. Philly doesn't hate effort. Philly doesn't hate flaws. What Philly can't stand is a player who refuses to acknowledge them. That's the divide. That's why he's become such a polarizing figure, because while you're out here demanding accountability, he's out here rewriting the story, acting like his words are more important than his actions. And it's not just about emotions. Let's keep it real. The Sixers are in a financial gridlock. The front office is desperate to carve out room to finally bring in Quentin Grimes, a restricted free agent they've been circling for weeks. You know the only way to do that is to shed some weight from the books. That's where the trade whispers start, and that's why the spotlight is on certain names. Now, Drummond, that's the easy call. You don't need a front office badge to see it. But the other guy? He's been a tougher conversation. Because yes, he's had flashes, yes, he's shown fight. But at the end of the day, does he really fit? Or are the Sixers simply holding on to someone who's dragging them down? That's the uncomfortable question. And I want to know from you, do you think keeping him is worth the risk? Drop it in the comments. Be honest. Don't sugarcoat it, because if there's one thing this city respects, it's the truth. If you're fed up, say it. If you still believe in him, defend it. But let's put it all out in the open. Here's another thing. Do you agree or disagree with this? Loyalty should never come at the cost of progress. If you agree, type loyalty in the comments right now. Let's see how many of you truly feel the same way. And here's the kicker. You're not alone in feeling this way. Across Philly, fans are split down the middle. Half are clinging to the good moments he's given, the other half are ready to pack his bags for him. That kind of divide doesn't just stay on Twitter or Instagram. It creeps into the locker room, into the chemistry of this team, into every late-game possession where trust is on the line. You've seen what happens when a player refuses to adapt. You've lived through years of false promises and short-lived experiments. So why should you settle now? Why should this season, one that already has the weight of Embiid's health and Maxi's growth on its back, be compromised by someone who seems more interested in blaming fans than fixing his flaws? This is bigger than just one man's frustrations. This is about whether the Sixers can afford to move forward with him, or whether it's finally time to cut ties, free the cap, and chase the roster balance you've been begging for. And now comes the moment you've been waiting for. The player who turned what should have been gratitude into grievance, who left you wondering if your support was ever enough, is none other than Kelly Oubre Jr. That's the name. That's the storm. That's the decision waiting to be made. And if you want to keep getting all the Sixers news, every update, every trade buzz, every behind-the-scenes shakeup that defines this team you love, you've got to hit that subscribe button and tap the bell right now. Because you know as well as I do, this saga isn't over. It's just getting started.